Okay, so we're going to start with 2.2. We're going to talk about how to identify a linear relation and function from a equation, and we're going to write linear functions or equations in standard form. These are our vocabulary words. We're going to talk about an x and y intercept because we're going to have to graph those. And I meant to put that definition back in and I just forgot. So a linear function, I just want you to know, should be able to be written in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, it has to be able to be written in that form. If it's not written in that form, then it's not a linear function. So what that means is if there's a variable, if there's an x in the denominator, it's not a linear function. I'll move my hand in a second, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you. So if there's an x in the denominator, it's not a linear function. So if you can't write it in slope-intercept form, basically, because that's slope-intercept form, then it's not a function. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 1 and 2. So is number 1 a function? No. And it says explain, and we would say there should be no variables in the denominator. Now, I thought I would have enough room, but apparently I don't. Sorry, guys, I thought I made enough room. I thought I did it better this time. So that's the first thing. Can you look at an equation, you guys, and decide if it's a linear function or not? So number 1, it's not. So anytime you have you have to pay attention. It's not just a fraction. Do you have a fraction with a variable in the denominator? If you do, then it's not a linear function. It's a function, it's just not a linear function. Okay, and then in 2, is this a function or is this a linear function or not? This one is yes, because I would say because it has a slope and y-intercept. Now, you guys, the one thing I do want you guys to recognize is it doesn't necessarily have to have a y-intercept, but it does have to have a slope. Other things that you need to know is that when we get into when we start talking more about lines, that a horizontal line and a vertical line, they have a slope. It might be 0, it might be undefined, but they have a slope. So those are still linear functions because it's just a horizontal vertical line. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do this word problem. Then we're going to do standard form. Hopefully we get to y-intercepts. Okay. The growth rate of a sample of Bermuda grass is given by the function f of x equals 5.9x plus 3.25, where f of x is the total height in inches, x days after an initial measurement. So you guys, your f of x is just like your y. F of x and y are interchangeable. It's just that f of x tells you what you plugged in for x. So in this equation, it says that the Bermuda grass is 50.45 inches tall. How many days has it been since it was last cut? So how are we going to do that?
You're going to need to move the paper.
You're right, I am, Gavin, thank you. I do that a lot. I do it, so I apologize. I am trying, you guys. Okay, so how am I going to write that? So I'm going to put 50.45 in because that's what I want to put in. So if it's 50.45 inches tall, we're going to try to figure out how much after this was the initial measurement, how much it's been, how many days since it's last cut. So we're going to put in 5.9 times 50.45 plus 3.25. Okay, so how many, since it's initial cut, how many do you think? Anybody notice that I did it wrong? No? That's good. Except that Hybrid A just did. Hybrid A, just hold on one second. So we're going to start this again. If you notice that mine is blank because I'm an idiot. Yep, I'll admit it fully. It says that the Bermuda grass is 50.45 inches tall. So f of x is the total height in inches. So this is the total height. So we're going to put 50.545 equals 5.9x plus 3.25. So I wrote it wrong the first time, you guys. I was thinking of plugging it in, but x is the number of days. Well, 50.45 is not the number of days. That's the total height. So what am I going to do? I'm going to solve the equation. And we want to put days because that's what it means.
Where you got 1 minute.
Thank you. Okay, so the question is it reasonable to think that this rate of growth can be maintained for long periods of time? Explain. So do you think the grass could keep growing and stand that high? Is that reasonable? That every 8 days it could grow 50.45 inches? No, why do you guys think that? So no, it's not reasonable. Anybody?
That's a lot of inches.
It is, right? In 16 days, it would be 100.90 inches. Like after a while, it's not gonna be able to stand straight up. It's kind of like wheat. Well, most weeds, except, there's some weeds that don't, that just grow and grow and grow. But it's just it would be too tall. At 100 inches after 16 days, it's just gonna be a lot. So, no, it's not reasonable. It would be too tall. The grass wouldn't be able to sustain that height. I know we live in Florida. Florida's a different climate, but does anybody's grass right now? Is anybody here in charge of mowing their yard? Oh, okay.
Some other people's lawn.
You mow other people's lawns, but not your own?
Like in different areas. One neighbor